Coal miners with black lung protests. Trump after feeling betrayed. Another group feels betrayed, folks. Here's what it's all about. MSHA, by those in the industry rather than MSHA. It's pronounced MSHA. That's the group we're talking about here. Coal miners, they are protesting against Trump today in response to his administration's failure to enforce protections against exposure to silica dust. It's a leading cause of black lung disease. In April of this year, miners had visited Trump in Washington to thank him for signing executive orders aimed at reinvigorating the American coal industry. Now, they're fighting for the enforcement of a Biden era policy issued by the Mine Safety and Health Administration, MSHA. It was supposed to limit the amount of respirable crystalline silica miners are exposed to. Coal mine operators were supposed to be compliant as of April 14th of this year, 2025. See it there? According to the New York Times, though, here's what's going on. They've been waiting months for the government to enforce federal limits on silica dust, a carcinogen that has led to a recent spike in the disease. Mining industry groups have sued to block the rules. So they're blocking enforcement, folks. Trump administration has paused enforcement while the lawsuit plays out. Is that what you do? I thought there was already something on the book saying this is what we're doing. Shouldn't they have to demand, meaning coal mining companies, that you pause enforcement? Shouldn't that be how it works? Why are you serving it up? Oh, perhaps because you had no intention of doing this in the first place. You just kind of placated people. Give you more. Back in September of this year, Energy Department announced a $625 million investment in the coal industry for the following purposes. I mean, this is spelled out here. DOE has committed to providing $625 million in funding for, $350 million for coal recommissioning and retrofit, another $25 million engineering and implementation, dual firing retrofits. I mean, every dollar seems accounted for. It's all there. On the list, though, no funds have been allocated to protect the health and well-being of miners working in the very mines that the coal industry profits off of. You know, the people who go down in this dark, dusty hole and do the dirty work. Companies might be getting a handout, but the miners getting none, said Gary Hairston, age 71, retired coal miner from West Virginia, now president of the National Black Lung Association. Mr. Hairston has been living with black lung disease since he was in his 40s. You know, the one thing he's the head of it, right? President. The one thing I would not want to be part of is the Black Lung Association, because you don't really get to be part of it unless you're greatly affected and afflicted with this disease. There you have it. Following an explosion of a mine, Farmington, West Virginia, where it was located, killed 78 coal miners, Congress passed the Federal Coal Mine Health and Safety Act of 1969. Now, following this, there had been a significant decrease of mine-related fatalities, injuries, and diseases. I mean, just look at the throwback picture there. See the old cars. This is what we were dealing with. And so Congress did something right, and they acted, and so suddenly people were less afflicted. It was a good thing, right? Doctors from the CDC reported back in 2023 that modern coal miners have higher death rates from lung disease than their predecessors. We found that coal miners have significantly increased odds of death from CWP, COPD, lung cancer, compared with their counterparts in the US population. As higher mortality has also worsened over time, modern miners facing greater risks than their predecessors, miners in the central Appalachian states, Kentucky, Virginia, West Virginia, well, of course, they face the most severe risks. Central Appalachian coal miners born in 1940 or later had over 8 times the odds of dying from a non-malignant respiratory disease such as black lung or COPD than their counterparts in the general population. So the Biden administration had set limits on miners' exposure to silica dust. Had to do something about it, right? Biden administration set those limits on miners' exposure to silica dust that mirrored better federal regulations covering construction, other industries in which workers are exposed to the dust. It also required mine operators to take immediate corrective action if exposures exceeded the limit. Administration estimated the rule would prevent at least 1,067 deaths, 3,746 cases of black lung. Andy Martin, age 68, retired miner from Norton, VA. He worked for nearly 5 decades in Wyoming and Virginia before being diagnosed with black lung. He said the rule is crucial if the workforce is going to survive. Once considered a disease of older miners, black lung is now being diagnosed in workers in their 30s and 40s. Having to mine deeper and deeper into rocks, as a lot of the easily accessible coal has been depleted, more and more miners are having to breathe in dangerous silica, which is causing black lung. It's not the coal that's getting them, it's the silica, said Mr. Martin, who paused to cough, catch his breath every few minutes during a recent interview. We need to get this done for the younger generation. Silica dust standard has not been updated in nearly 40 years before the Biden administration took action in 2024. In that period of inaction, mining methods changed. Larger, more accessible coal seams have been exhausted. Miners now must cut through more rock, which leads to more exposure for silica dust. Silica dust that is 20 times more toxic than coal dust. It causes the most severe forms of black lung even after fewer years of exposure. This is literally a dead end for so many young people getting into the old business of coal mining. Now in Central Appalachia, 1 in 5 tenured miners has black lung disease. 1 in 20 has the most severe and totally disabling form of black lung. This led to an urgent push for an updated silica dust standard. I don't know why you even have to push. This is elementary. This is what's necessary. But limits on silica exposure were supposed to take effect in April. But the National Sandstone and Gravel Association, here we go. The National Mining Association, other industry groups asked a federal appeals court, could you block this rule? Citing the cost to mine operators. Trump administration did not defend the rule in court. Instead, it agreed to delay enforcement and since has petitioned the court to prevent labor unions and a lung health association from intervening in the case. This month, it asked for another court delay, citing, we're going through this whole government shutdown, so we really can't do anything right now. Let's put this on a little permanent-ish pause. Judith Thrift, age 80, whose husband died from black lung, told the New York Times this: the coal miners have supplied this country with electricity, and now they're just cast aside to die. She's right. The widow is telling the truth. The widow is just telling it like it is. And anybody who believed otherwise, let's make America great again. Let's get back to coal and silica dust. You've been hoodwinked. They don't really care about you. And that includes whether you're pushing up daisies. What say you, Jackson?
Well, obviously, it's to no surprise that the Trump administration or just the Republican Party in general is failing to look out for the health incentives of workers, but also the fact that we invested almost $1 billion into the coal industry at all, while we're divesting from clean energy sources, which would create many more jobs, just shows how antithetical. Excuse me, how a piece of my mustache fell off. Just shows how antithetical the Trump administration really is to, quote unquote, making America great. Because I mean, like the coal industry is, we've been using coal since before we were using gasoline to power combustion engines and things like that. And it's just not an industry that younger people are rushing to get into. It's a dying industry. There's really nothing we can do about it. So it's not the future in any way. I mean, even Elon Musk, despite all the programs that he cut and all the people that he illegally fired while he was the head of Doge, despite all that, that was one of his biggest criticisms of the big beautiful bill about how it does not invest into energy sources and industries of the future. So, just blanket corruption is how we got here. And people who are too damn old continue to run the world because I mean, we're investing again almost $1 billion into coal. Oh, it's because these people are 78, 80, 84 years old. But it's just a waste of money and ultimately a waste of
Mhm.
time.
But hey, if you belong to a certain lobbying group, an association, and you reach the right people, it's a good little payoff. And I'm not accusing anybody. This is my opinion. I'm just saying that the money is still good to do stupid acts.
Oh,
Let's
true.
keep going with coal. That'll keep America front and center. Let's just keep doing it this way. It's stupid, it's cruel, and you're literally leading these young miners to extended hardship medically, but also really a death chamber. You're not going to be healthy doing this for long term. You're just not. It's just not how it works. I'll give you the last word.
Yeah, unfortunately, we still have 3 years and some change left of the Trump administration and all the chaos that's being caused. But hopefully, when we come to the end of it, the country at large, and especially people who have been on the fence about a lot of the progress that we need to make, including in where we derive our energy from, hopefully this helps people to move a bit more further into the direction of progress because not only is this bad for people's health, not only is this bad for America's energy independence, but it's also bad for the future and our ability to compete with the rest of the international market.
Yeah. I mean, that's it. Sums it up right there. I wish we would teach Americans and reteach older Americans, perhaps Americans who've been on Earth for I don't know 25 years or more have to be retaught. I don't want to hear about your words. I don't care what papers you're signing. I only care about how you treat me. That's how you can make up your mind before you go into that booth, pull a lever, or I guess you press little screen buttons now, but that's all you have to do. How are you treating me? And in the case of these coal miners and silica dust, you're treating me like you don't give a damn.